We begin with the war between Israeli forces and the Palestinian militant group Hamas. The Israeli army is reportedly intensifying its bombardment of the Gaza Strip, hitting schools, mosques and more hospitals. This comes as the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken holds strategic talks with Middle East leaders for a way to peace. We have a report.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Jordan for talks with several Arab leaders and ministers. His schedule includes meeting with the Jordanian King Abdullah II and the Prime Minister of Qatar. He has already met with the Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati. Mr. Blinken will also hold discussions with foreign ministers from Jordan, Lebanon, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt and the United Arab Emirates in Amman over the war between Israel and Hamas and the rising tension in the Middle East. The U.S. Secretary of State will also hold a meeting with the Commissioner General of the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East, Philip Lazzarini. Friday, Mr. Blinken called for humanitarian ceasefire in the fighting in Gaza due to the hardship being faced by the civilian population. But the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says there will be no temporary ceasefire with Hamas until all Israeli hostages are released. Mr. Netanyahu also warned Lebanon's militant group Hezbollah against making what he called costly mistakes in any attempts to attack Israel. On another side, the Palestinian Red Cross Society says a convoy was struck twice, first on its way to the Al-Shifa hospital and a second time outside the gate where it had arrived to unload patients. According to the Christian Society, 15 civilians were killed. Meanwhile, the Israeli military says it struck an ambulance being used in Gaza by Hamas operatives. On the flip side, there are 112 entries under the United Kingdom on the list of people who will be allowed to evacuate Gaza through the Rafah crossing today, including 88 British citizens. The first groups of British people trapped in Gaza crossed into Egypt Friday. On Wednesday, the Rafah border crossing was opened for people to leave Gaza, the first time in 3 weeks. Israel began bombing Gaza after Hamas killed more than 1,400 persons in Israel and kidnapped more than 200 others on the 7th of October. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 9,000 persons have been killed in the Strip since the 7th of October.